The age-old battle of Windows versus Mac will never end, but in this situation, I've been challenged that for near enough the equivalent amount of money spent on a premium MacBook Pro, say the likes of my M1 Max 14-inch, I can get so much more from a Windows laptop, and as a lifelong Windows user, I said challenge accepted. Here we have the challenger on the Windows side, the Lenovo Slim Pro 9i, or globally named Yoga Pro 9i Gen 8. And this particular one is the 16-inch model powered by Intel's 13th generation Core i9 13905H processor, 64GB of DDR5 RAM, 1TB of storage, and NVIDIA RTX 4070 for the dedicated graphics, which is being pitted against my personal 14-inch MacBook Pro with the M1 Max chip, 32GB of RAM, 1TB of SSD storage. Now, the original price without tax for this MacBook Pro spec was around $3,000 brand new, and even compared to a similar spec M2 Max or even an M3 Max, you are looking at somewhere around the $3,000 to $3,200 mark. Compared to this fully spec'd out 9i, you can easily find this for less than $3,000. So this sets the pace and gives context for how much more you can get with a premium Windows laptop, especially when it comes to productivity and best of all, gaming. When it comes to the specs and the performance, there are two fundamental differences in approach with the more traditional x86 architecture of computing on Windows and the ARM-based system-on-a-chip design of Apple Silicon. Both come with their benefits, which I've come to appreciate, with the Mac offering great performance to efficiency for increased mobile computing without losing much or any performance when unplugged, while on the Windows side, having the brute force flexibility and compatibility of individual components that work together like the CPU, RAM, and dedicated GPU is still unmatched for having the ability to throw any and everything at it, giving you more confidence, it will be more compatible and work. As stated, my spec of the Lenovo Slim Pro 9i is powered by Intel's 13th Gen Core i9 13905H processor, 64GB of LPDDR5X RAM, 1TB of NVMe Gen 4 SSD storage, and NVIDIA RTX 4070 with a TGP rating of 100 watts. My spec of the 14-inch MacBook Pro is the M1 Max binned with the integrated 24-core GPU, 32GB of RAM, and 1TB of SSD storage. What I've come to appreciate is the built-in media engine on the M1 Max, which for me as a video content creator has made a difference in editing performance with how well it handles H.265 files with 42 10-bit color. So credit where it's due, this is a great benefit. Here's the thing, beyond that, the experience on Apple Silicon almost feels like a one-trick pony. With the Slim Pro 9i being built on Intel EVO, there are several benefits of it that matches or even beats Apple Silicon. The idea of Intel EVO with Lenovo Slim Pro 9i is a computing experience built to give you the best overall laptop experience where you are able to work, game, and create with one laptop for everything you need to do. Engineered to do it all, offering a level of value with a premium laptop you just won't get on any other platform. Intel's 13th generation hybrid architecture with 14 cores split into 6 performance cores and 8 efficient cores with 20 threads makes for both super high performance, since the 6 performance cores double up in performance with 12 threads and a max turbo boost up to a crazy 5.4 GHz, with the efficient cores still offering great performance with clocks up to 4.1 GHz while offering great battery life. Intel's 700 series chipset allows for up-to-date support for current and future standards like DDR4, DDR5 memory, and PCI Express Generation 5. For all the things I like about Apple's media engine in their M series chip, especially with support for hardware accelerated decode and encode of H.265 files with 42 10-bit color, Intel's onboard Xe graphics also supports this with their QuickSync technology, and this has been the case since 12th gen, and it's even faster and more efficient on 13th gen, so there is no fear of missing out when it comes to recording and using such files with my pro level camera when content creating with video. What makes it so impressive is, even with how up to date the RTX 40 series GPU is, the NVENC encoder from NVIDIA is limited to 420 10-bit color and can't handle 422 10-bit color with H.265. This is no shade at the RTX 4070, but it's more credit to how efficient, well packaged and featured the Intel EVO platform is. From a video creative point of view, my main video video editing software is Adobe Premiere Pro, and the biggest pain point being on the Mac that an Intel EVO device like the Slim Pro 9i solves is the ability to export video using a CBR constant bitrate setting while still having the ability to use hardware encoding with the built-in XE graphics with QuickSync and the dedicated NVIDIA NVENC encoder on the RTX 4070. Compared to the VBR option variable bitrate, the final exported video file has less artifacts. Do this on a Mac with the CBR setting and you lose hardware encoding and the export times take much longer. With all the improvements Apple is trying to make with dedicated gaming on their M series platform with macOS, it's safe to say the definitive, best, and most compatible gaming experience is found on Windows. Thanks to features like Intel's Thread Director and how well it manages the hybrid architecture of the 13th generation H series chipset, this is the best CPU platform for dedicated gaming with max performance that minimizes performance drops and bottlenecking. Being able to play my favorite games like Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart and Spider-Man Remastered with next generation graphics fidelity like ray tracing, DLSS 3 with frame generation, and more makes for a gaming experience I could only dream of when using a Mac. Productivity, work, gaming happens on Intel EVO with Lenovo, and the Slim Pro 9i is a great showcase of it. Now, design is very subjective, and MacBooks are known to have a gold standard thanks to the single block all metal build, and it's great to see a return to form when it comes to the ports available since they've moved over to Apple Silicon. As good as that is, I find the options available for the ports and expandability still favor what's available on the 9i. The 9i has two USB-A ports with 3.2 Gen 1 speeds and a full-size SD card slot, a full-size HDMI port, a Thunderbolt 4 port in the shape of USB-C, with support for power delivery charging and a dedicated charging port. This addresses one of the things I wish was still available on the MacBook Pro, which, if you didn't guess it, is USB-A. Although USB-C products are widely available, there are some products that still use USB-A, meaning from time to time, I still need to use an adapter to access a USB-A port. This is a non-issue on the 9i, with the only thing I would have wanted is an additional USB-C port on the right side. Apart from that, there is no worries when it comes to pretty much ever needing an adapter, or some people like to call it a dongle. A couple of nice touches I subjectively like about the 9i is the location of the power button on the right side next to the SD card reader and a camera shutter for the webcam for added privacy. It's clutch because if you actually plan to use the 9i as a desktop replacement in clamshell mode, you don't need to open the lid to access the power button to turn the laptop on. For the display experience, I would say both have top quality panels, and it's definitely what you should be expecting at this price point, with the 14-inch MacBook Pro using a mini LED display with a 3024 by 1964 resolution, an adaptive ProMotion display with 120Hz refresh rate. I really like the display on the MacBook Pro. It's bright, color accurate, and makes for a great experience, especially when creating video content. Two things that annoy me about the MacBook Pro display is the lack of facial recognition for biometric unlock for the webcam and the inner display notch. Yes, some say you get used to it, but I still really haven't, and depending on what's shown on the screen, the notch does get in the way. Compared to what you get on the Slim Pro 9i, at this price point, you get a 16-inch mini LED display with a higher 3200 by 2000 resolution and a higher 165Hz refresh rate, which can both be adaptive or fixed. And the absolute thing I love the most, touch display support. On top of having a bright over 1000 nits panel and great color accuracy across the board with 100% Adobe RGB, sRGB, P3, and Dolby Vision, having touch support is one thing I really still miss having on a Windows laptop. And as a complete package, the Slim Pro 9i ticks all the boxes when it comes to having a complete display experience with nothing missing. To top it off, Lenovo have gone with what I like to call a reverse notch design, which functionally makes it much easier to open the lid, prevents the need of having an inner display notch like what you find on the MacBook Pro. And most importantly, there is support for Windows Hello Face Unlock, which is my preferred method of unlock for a laptop compared to that of the fingerprint reader on the MacBook Pro. This part is more of a macOS thing I'm not much of a fan of. When you completely shut down your Mac and start it up again, Touch ID does not work and you need to type in your password to log in. And I get some will say this is for added security, but for me, it kind of defeats the benefit of having Touch ID unless you are in sleep mode, which even then sometimes it still asks for your password. No such issue on the Slim Pro 9i with Windows Hello. I've gone on record to say the typing experience with the keyboard and mouse on the MacBook is some of the best I've used, and that still stands true from a subjective point of view. That being said, the benefits of having a large 16-inch form factor laptop allows Lenovo to fit more keys with a number pad in a bigger overall trackpad. So if you are someone that actually values having a number pad on your keyboard for quicker access to things like number inputs and also using calculations and spreadsheets work, then this is a nice addition to have on the 9i. And of course, a larger trackpad does make for easier navigation when moving around the OS. When it comes to the software experience, I'm not gonna mince my words. I love and prefer Windows, especially Windows 11, and I more or less pretty much kind of tolerate the experience I get from macOS just to have access to the software I need to get work done. Unpopular opinion, out of the box, I feel Windows 11 is much easier to use, easier to navigate, and way more user-friendly compared to even the latest macOS Sonoma. A few examples why I personally prefer Windows 11 is in the name, Windows. Windows management is so much better with things like snap layouts for easier multitasking, split screen, the better file management system for organizing your folders and files, better general app compatibility, and the thing that stands out the most is better support for native gaming. Don't get me wrong, macOS isn't difficult to use by any stretch of the imagination, but needing to buy an additional app like Magnet to enable some form of improved Windows management experience is just crazy to me. And compared to the native experience you get on Windows 11, it doesn't even come close. Each of their own. For me, the experience on Windows is definitely my preferred choice. I would say this, one of the biggest draws of using a Mac is how easy it is to transfer files between devices like your iPhone and Mac with features like AirDrop, which allows you to wirelessly send pictures, files, and videos without the need of a cable. Plus, with the integration Apple has with their devices, you can do things like reply to text messages and receive phone calls on your Mac with your iPhone. This usually makes iPhone users feel more inclined to staying on a Mac because they feel this is something they can't experience on a Windows computer. This is not entirely true because thanks to Intel's Unison application, you have the ability to experience an integrated flow with devices like your iPhone and iPad. Setting up Intel Unison with your phone or tablet is simple. In my case, on my iPhone, I downloaded the official Intel Unison app from the App Store. Then launch the Intel Unison application on your supported Intel EVO powered laptop, which in this case is the Lenovo Slim Pro 9i. Follow the instructions on the screen to pair with methods like scanning the QR code and you are good to go. Once connected and set up, Intel Unison gives you the ability to transfer files, photos, and videos between your PC and iOS device, with support for Android as well, wirelessly for a seamless experience. You can stay in the flow of work with the ability to make and receive phone calls directly from your PC, as well as text messages and important notifications, allowing you to seamlessly connect with Intel Unison on the Intel EVO powered Lenovo Slim Pro 9i. It's been really fun pitting both these laptops and platforms together, and it really shows how much more of a broader experience you get with the Lenovo Slim Pro 9i on Intel EVO. If you're interested in picking up the Lenovo Slim Pro 9i or globally named the Yoga Pro 9i Gen 8, check and use the links in the description below, as well as the pinned comment. And thank you to Intel and Lenovo US for partnering and sponsoring this video.